What's going on? Let's talk about Alpaka's latest EDC bag, their Metro Pro. At 24 liters, it's slightly smaller than their most popular bag, the Elements Pro. I will preface by saying that even though it's listed as a 24 liter, this is a very common Alpaka, I guess, point of criticism, but it does definitely feel more like a 20 liter to a 22 liter. So if you're looking for something a bit more spacious, maybe not the best fit for you, but if you are looking for a 20 to 22 liter EDC bag that's gonna look really slim on your body, then this is a really good option. Let's get into what I like, some nitpicks, I'll walk you through it, and also I'll compare it to the Elements Pro and in what scenario it would make more sense for you to opt for this one over that one or the Elements Pro. So the things that I appreciate the most about this bag are, one, the minimal aesthetic. It's got a little Darth Vader action going on. Secondly is the size, even though it's listed as more than it actually is. I think if you're looking for something compact, it's a really good size. And then lastly, the front stash pocket is really spacious and there's some nice things about it. So when it comes to the looks, I do find that the Elements Pro, that's slightly bigger than this, 26 liters, a lot of the design decisions that were made around the Metro Pro, I think are geared towards that minimal look that they were trying to give it. When it comes to bags, I'm definitely a function over form kind of person, but I do love finding that perfect balance of form and function. The look of the bag, which I appreciate, was achieved by sacrificing a few function things like external grab handles beyond just the top one. The fact that there are no external water bottle holders or really anything protruding out of the outside. Secondly, in terms of the size, again, if you're looking for a true 24 liter bag, I think you're gonna be underwhelmed, but I got it knowing that Alpaka is typically inflated by a few liters. I feel like the size is great when it comes to like an office commute bag, or if you're traveling and taking this alongside a carry-on. I would definitely not take this on a one-night trip. You can, but I'll show you why the main compartment isn't as conducive for that. It's spacious enough to fit all of your tech essentials, a laptop, tablet, water bottle, small layers, things like that. It's a bag that's very compact, it doesn't bulge out, and for someone that has a smaller frame where bags typically look really turtly on you, then this is a really good option in that sense as well. The last thing that I really appreciate about this bag that you don't get in the Elements Pro is the front stash pocket. It's not only like the fact that they're including a stash pocket, but it's the fact that it's a really spacious one. There are some bags like the CTB20 that like Evergood's kind of pioneered the whole stash pocket, but even on that bag in the 20 liter version, it's a little bit tight here. Like it's really designed more for your smaller things. But as you can see here, there's just a ton of space. So things like AirPod Maxes that I typically have a hard time finding a dedicated place for them in bags, and I oftentimes end up having to throw it in the main compartment, which is not my ideal setup. These are about as big as over-the-ear headphones get. Like if Maxes fit in here, anything else that you're gonna wanna put in here fits. So as you can see, those fit, but if you also wanna use that for small layers, gloves, beanie, things like that, it accepts it with absolute grace. Now, before I walk you through it, a few nitpicks I do have with the bag. The first one is the storm flap. Now it contributes to the cool Darth Vader, like minimal look it's got going on. But for someone that appreciates a good buttery zipping experience, this bag, when you, like I have for the most part figured it out. And then just when I think I have it figured out, I don't, because the flap gets in the way of the zipper. And like to me, like when you're traveling or commuting, oftentimes you're in a stressed out state of mind. That's just the nature of it. And when I'm in those situations, like I want consistency out of my bag. And yeah, the fact that there is flappage happening, and this is their 600D Axo Flux, so it's a fairly rigid, like rough material. Like it's good, I'm sure, like from a durability standpoint, but not only is it the fact that it catches sometimes, but it's the fact that your finger is like interacting with this sleeve that is definitely like not the smoothest surface in the world. Now, one fix, which to me is just not an elegant solution and something that you can do, is just like tuck this guy back and keep it like that. But kind of takes away from that sweet little minimal look it's got going on. But there, it's a lot easier, right? To zip and unzip. And then if you really don't care about the look, then you can flap it over if it starts raining and keep it like this. So yeah, when it comes to like the Pilgrim churned butter zipper smoothness rating, I give it like a 7.1. 7.1 because it's a good, they're using a very good zipper. This is like a YKK number 8 reverse coil zipper. Like, it's not about the zipper selection. When it's back, it goes like, this is like, to me, this absolutely works. But having to deal with the main compartment with that flap definitely has a negative impact on my zipping experience. Beyond the Storm Shield zipper thing going on, my second nitpick is around the internal water bottle holder. So it's not necessarily the fact that it's internal, right? I do prefer external water bottle holders. I think I always will, but I've seen more and more good executions of internal water bottle holders where they're still easy to access and they don't take up a lot of space inside. So you have two sleeves in the main compartment, and one of them looks like is the dedicated water bottle holder, but you could technically use both. This is a 24-ounce Owala, and it fits like really perfectly. Like, I have no issues with how it fits. Let me also show you, this is a 32-ounce hydro flask. So on that same pocket, it does fit, but it's like kind of tight. So here on the other side, I found that a 32-ounce just like fits more comfortably. So it's great, right? There's two problems I have with that. Number one is the fact that when you close the bag, it's directly in the middle of the bag and it's completely eating up prime real estate inside the main compartment. And then the second thing is the fact that getting into the main compartment already is not like a frictionless experience. So having to open that up to get into a water bottle is something that's not super practical. So me personally, like if I was the kind of person that didn't carry a water bottle, then that'd be totally fine. You can use these pockets for smaller things, cables. That's perfect. Honestly, like me personally, I probably wouldn't want to carry a water bottle for that reason with this bag specifically. And then my last nitpick with this bag that you don't run into with the Elements Pro is there's really no false bottom on the laptop sleeve. So above the laptop sleeve, you have the tablet sleeve. That is suspended off, and that's great. You have nothing to worry about when it comes to your tablet. But this is a 13-inch MacBook Air. Fits great. The laptop compartment is like really, really well made. Definitely one of the strongest parts in this bag. But laptop is in there, and like, I can feel it, right? I can feel it. There's like maybe, I don't know, like however thick the fabric is, really, maybe like a millimeter, 2 millimeters. I don't even know, but it's just not a lot. I'm not someone that's very rough with my bag, so I don't know if it would be like a full deal breaker, but at the same time, it's not a super expensive bag, but it's still not a cheap bag at its price point. I would expect a little bit more protection with the laptop, especially like they definitely give you so much protection here on the back part. It's just the bottom, so something to be mindful of. All right, let's get into the bag, starting off with the outside, and then I'll get into the inside. The fabric itself is their in-house Axoflux, which is a 600D recycled polyester. It feels like Cordura or ballistic nylon in that family, and it feels rough. Like, in a good way. It's just, I do find that Cordura has a bit more of a elegant finish, like a more premium feel to it. Not to say that this feels cheap by any means, but yeah, given the choice, I think I would still prefer a Cordura. If I was dead set on this being like my EDC bag, I would just get it in the expat version for sure. Their zipper pulls, this is something that I also have like a miniature nitpick with, but the material is, it feels like a PU leather. Like, I guess they're trying to recreate a leather like feel. I like how they look. It's just they're pretty smooth. They're not very grippy. I don't have like sweaty hands, but I like a good grippy zipper pull. And yeah, I feel like these like just slide off a little bit. But anyways, here in the front, you have their front stash pocket. Again, I talked about how much I appreciate the spaciousness of it. And one thing I love in Alpaka bags is their lining, the honeycomb ripstop. It feels really, really beefy. And then they have like the piping is made out of the Axoflux material. So it just feels like really strong in there. You have a place for notebooks, like two places really. This is a 5x7 notebook. You still have a little bit of space. So I would assume that an iPad mini would fit comfortably in here. A Switch would be a little bit too long. I'd have to double check the dimensions. I don't own a Switch, but based on what I've seen, I don't think it'll work. Now I do have like slightly mixed feelings with just the organizational setup in here. And that is that you have one big pocket, and I love that, right? Like notebook or just anything bigger will fit. But the fact that there is zero elasticity in the ripstop like this is, it's either gonna fit really well or it's gonna be very loose. It's kind of why I like a combination of like a pocket like this and stretch mesh or a zippered pocket, just having security, especially with these being my easy access things, or ideally what I would want for easy access. But for me, really, the main things I want quick and easy access to are charging cable with a brick, right? And can I put that in there? Definitely. But it's just loose, right? AirPods, everything is just loose and not secure. So if I'm just like moving the bag around, just knowing that there's a high likelihood that my smaller things are gonna jumble out, that's one thing that me personally, the way I view easy access and the things I want easy access to, it doesn't work out perfectly for me. And there's really no other easy access pocket. You do have one here, but it's a concealed pocket. I don't consider that to be easy access by any means. And then lastly, they have their key clip, which I love, is magnetic. So you can have your keys attached to this. And then you just remove it, have this permanently attached to your keyring rather than having to snag it, which is cool. One thing that's not a dig on this bag at all, it's a dig on really all bags that have a key leash with something like this. I have yet to see this. Let me know if you have found this, but it's always like loose, right? So you just have to like have it there. I feel like it would be so simple to have like just like a little sleeve where it can just like stay away from everything else. That'd be nice. Anyways, going to the back of the bag, the straps have like a nice foam padding to them, as well as the back. I would say for anyone that doesn't think too much about bag comfort, you're gonna find this more comfortable than probably most bags you've tried on. For anyone that is very particular about comfort like myself and you've tried on really, really comfortable bags, I wouldn't put in the upper echelon of comfortable bags, but it's definitely more than comfortable enough for what you would need, especially for a bag this size and what you could put into it. They have that same Axoflux material here on the front of the straps. One thing that's interesting that I haven't seen before is the sternum strap, how it attaches to the bag and how you adjust for it. So the strap itself is the Fitlock magnetic. There's a few different varieties. This is easily my favorite one. It's the one that has the button because it's just like a one-handed operation to pluck it off and then it just comes back super easily. They also have probably like the strongest, this is like borderline not elastic like it is, but this strap keeper is beefy McWellington. It's crazy. So as far as adjusting it, they have just like a little bit of piping that comes out, and it, like when I first saw it, I was like, that does not look like super confidence inspiring, right? Like it's so thin, but feels like pretty strong. Like I'd be really surprised. The one thing I have found is that it's slightly abrasive, slightly. So sometimes like I'll pick up the bag from the strap to put it on and like you feel it, just cause like if you happen to be a weirdo like me that I'm like acutely tactically like stimulated, I don't know how to explain it, but yeah, little things become big things for me, which is not a great thing. But I also geek out on the finest of finest detail. When it's a detail that makes me feel very good, I appreciate it a lot. So it evens out, or so I tell myself. But anyways, there's 3 loops, top, middle, bottom. Sorry, 4 loops. 1, 2, 3, 5 loops. Wow, these were like stuck together. I was just looking at these 3. So yeah, there's a lot of places that you can attach it to. And it's like pretty easy to do. There's just like, you just have this like plastic buckle and you just like push it into it and bam, you're in. But it's also not like, I wouldn't want to do it a lot, honestly. That piping, it feels strong enough, but at the same time, I wouldn't want to be like constantly adjusting it. So anyways, there's that. And then you've got metal hardware here. And then just like standard nylon webbing. It's a bit textured, so it's not super smooth gliding up and down, but it works just fine. And then you have the luggage pass-through, which is a nice beefy one. It is a horizontally oriented luggage pass-through. What do I need to do to get me some vertically oriented pass-throughs these days? And then lastly, you have the concealed pocket here in the back. It's super spacious. Here's like 4 passports, easily go in, but just perfect for smaller things, cash, maybe a nice watch that you want to throw in there. That keeps it close to your body and evading the thieves. And then lastly, on the outside, you have the top grab handle. Now, it makes sense from a design standpoint just to keep everything clean and flush and minimal, that this doesn't protrude a lot. I still like, I would prefer this protrude, make it easier for me to get into, especially because the Axoflux is like a little bit on the rougher side. So when the bag is a little bit more full and heavier, like picking it up, it's not bad. Like it feels nice, but because it's kind of tight to get in there, I would have liked a little bit more protrusion. Now getting into the bag, see, I think I do have kind of the storm flap situation figured out. So on the inside, on the back, you have like Molly style webbing. This is so that you can attach their hub system add-ons. I guess like philosophically, the way they like nudge for you to interact and use their bags is by having like little pouches that you can magnetically attach to the bag. I'm sure a lot of people like love that. Just candidly, me personally, I didn't get it because I don't foresee that would be my organizational style within the bag, but I can see how that could be like a clever way of replacing a tech pouch. In reality, this is a bag that I would say is a little bit light on the organization for smaller things. So I get why they would want you to use a tech pouch, and I'm someone that sometimes uses them. Sometimes I'm just like, why am I carrying all these things? Like I really don't need all these like miniature cables, dongles, adapters. But I do like just having like, all right, here's my essentials. I am switching to this bag. You're coming with me. I don't have to like redo everything, which is I think a really big advantage of just tech pouches. Beyond that, you have their honeycomb ripstop, which is like really beefy. Like they did a great job with this. And I'm sure this would get dirty more easily than other colors, but I'll take this color over a gray any day. I think it looks really sweet. You have the two big pockets here. Let me take out this tech pouch. But you have these two spacious pockets in here. Again, my hesitation with them is just like everything gets in the way of the main compartment. But this is, on the other side, a great place to throw in like a tech pouch, right? Like if you have your own, maybe you don't want to use their hub system, doing something like that with either the water bottle or maybe something else on the other side. That's like the Peak Design 1 liter. This is the Bellroy Compact Tech Kit, which is slightly wider, but it's not as long and also fits really, really well. And then beyond that, you have the one pocket. This is the only like secure zippered compartment pocket. The stretch mesh that they use, this is like neoprene-like. I really, really dig it. This would be a great place for your sunglasses, but then anything else small, like you wouldn't be able to put in here. So I honestly, I'd have to have like sunglasses in a case in here, which is like far from my ideal setup. But this is where I would put my easy access essentials, AirPods, cables. Like that's my, I'm going on a tangent with tech pouches, but my thing with tech pouches is that typically the things that I need, like my quick essentials, like I want those in a bag, easily accessible in one step. Having to open up a main compartment, then have that pouch, take out that pouch just to grab something that I could do in one step. Most bags provide you with that option, and I'll take that option any day for those few things: a charging cable or like a mobile battery bank, AirPods. Like that's really all I need. So that was the main compartment. And then lastly, the dedicated laptop compartment. They did such a good job with this compartment for a number of reasons, with the exception of the false bottom, which is an important one. But just the padding here in the back, this fleece liner, there's a nice like gusset on the side along with just a structure on the laptop compartment, so it just goes in really easily. So if you're between the Metro Pro and the Elements Pro, understandably there's only a 2 liter difference between the two, and they also cost the same. It's like $169 for the AxoFlux version and then $229 for the X-Pack version of either. There are a few places, in my opinion, where the Metro Pro wins. So one is the fact that you get a front stash pocket. Secondly, a dedicated laptop compartment edges it for me slightly depending on how much weight it's adding. And then just lastly, the look. The front stash pocket is great because you have a place for larger things like over-the-ear headphones where you really wouldn't have a dedicated place for in the Elements Pro. You get a very small zippered pocket. Secondly, dedicated laptop compartment versus main. That's not a deal breaker for me, but I know a lot of people do prefer having that separate from the main compartment. In the Elements Pro, it is in the main compartment. And then just lastly, subjectively, I do find that the Metro Pro just has a sleeker, more minimal profile. It would blend in better in a professional setting. The Elements Pro, I think, is a little bit more technical. They both look awesome, by the way. I just find that in order to differentiate between the Elements Pro and the Metro Pro, Alpaka made a lot of design decisions to favor the look of the Metro Pro that did sacrifice on functionality, like external water bottle holders, this cool Darth Vader looking storm shield, which does make it a little bit less functional. But yeah, there are some places where the Element Pro wins. Personally, between the two, I like the Elements Pro a little bit more because the areas where it wins, where this one falls short of, are areas that I just care more about when I'm looking at a backpack. And those are the fact that it has external water bottle holders, it has better organization for smaller things, and then just like the ease of access into the main compartment. In terms of the external water bottle holders, you get 2 of them. They're on the outside. They don't get in the way of the main compartment. The Elements Pro is missing the front stash pocket that I really like in the Metro Pro, but it just has more dedicated compartments for smaller things. Like their whole front admin panel is designed for that. You get another top easy access pocket here. And then in the main compartment, you also get 2 instead of 1 zippered compartments. So Who is this for? This is for a person that is not gonna be like using this as a 1 or 2 nighter, 1 bag option. This is someone that's gonna use it for a commute to work, or like as a travel companion with a carry-on. Someone that's like pretty minimal as far as what they carry. If you do have a decent bit of like tech gadgets, you're gonna want to use a tech pouch for this, just because that front easy access pocket doesn't have a lot of security nor compartments that are geared towards smaller things. And then lastly, ideally someone that doesn't carry a water bottle, or if they do, you're not going to carry a lot in the main compartment because that is going to get in the way of it. This bag has a really unique look to it, and part of it is this storm flap. So for anyone that really prioritizes looks over function, not that it's not a functional backpack, but there's nothing wrong with that as well. I think at its price point, the materials that they're using, if you like the look, you don't really care about some of the things that I personally care about, then this is going to be a really good option for you. Other than that, best of luck and cheers.